Greetings residents, Professor Prinny here. So, I finally updated to Windows 11 now that Windows 10 support is over, and the process was mostly painless. My main audio interface disappeared as one of my audio output devices, but that was fixed by reinstalling its drivers. But yeah, no major issues. I did tweak a few settings here and there, using Chris Titus's Windows utility tool to debloat Windows 11 by disabling recall, most of the telemetry, as well as changing a few preferences, such as moving the taskbar items back over to the left, and voila! I've got my desktop looking how I want. Now, I had considered moving over to Linux, either Mint or Bazzite, and my workflow would have transitioned just fine. Most of the programs I use have native Linux versions, such as OBS for streaming and recording, Audacity for audio, and LibreOffice, which is what I'm using to write this script. Other programs have workarounds or alternatives that I plan to transition over to. There's image editing software Affinity Photo, which I can get to work with Lutris and Wine. Gaming is mostly solved with Proton and works great from my experience with the Steam Deck. And finally, there's DaVinci Resolve, which I'll use to replace Vegas Pro for my video editing needs, as the latter program's modern versions don't have any workarounds for Linux. So what's stopping me from switching? Two things. There's my East 10 videos, which are still being worked on through Vegas Pro, and I want to maintain consistency. And then there's my gacha addiction, more specifically,
Goddess of Victory, Nikkei,
which won't run on Linux because of the anti-cheat it uses. Now, I could play Nikkei on my phone, but it runs terribly on my, by today's standards, ancient phone, and alternatively I could just quit the game. But the thing is, I enjoy the plot and the plot enough to stick with it as my main gacha game. So the reasonable middle ground would be to set up a dual boot system, and yeah, this is the route I'll take once I finish the East 10 videos and get myself a second internal SSD. One of the things I like to do in my spare time is read web novels, manhwa, etc., and one novel in particular has had me hooked for the last few months. Now, I've been aware of Lord of Mysteries for the last few years, and how it's been considered a top 3 web novel, but I've never developed an interest reading it until I saw the visuals from its donghua adaptation, and they're gorgeous. I like the Victorian-era aesthetic it portrays, and that was enough for me to delve into the novel, and I have to say, it deserves its spot at the top of web novel rankings. The plot centers around Zhou Minglei, who had transmigrated into Klein Moretti, where the latter had just Minecrafted themselves, and he goes on this journey of discovery behind why Klein did what he did, and stumbling into the world of Beyonders, beings with supernatural abilities, constantly fighting against dangers and madness. Now, the first half of that descriptor applies to the first volume Clown, and, while the story is good, it is a slow burn and it can be confusing as you are thrust into that initial mystery with no foundational knowledge to work off of, but if you do stick with it, you are eased into the world after that, whether it be through interactions with Klein's family, the official Beyonders of the Church of Evernight, or people in the Tarot Club organization. As of writing the script, I've started Volume 7, The Hanged Man, and boy, the revelations even this late in the story give me euphoria. And one of them makes me want to kick myself for not realizing the identity of one of the gods, even though there had been in plain sight hints to it since Volume 2. That's just how well thought out this novel is. Most characters and mentions of seemingly random things have purpose or greater meaning, and they pay off sooner or later. One tip if you do decide to read this novel yourself or watch the donghua: don't go to the wiki, just a casual glance at even the homepage can spoil major things. Praise the lady, and praise the fool, the king of yellow and black, who wields good luck. Finally, I want to talk about the games I'm playing. I've already mentioned Nikkei, so let's go over the other gacha games I play, starting with Zenless Zone Zero. I enjoyed the presentation. The urban fantasy aesthetic pulled me in during a time where I've been fatigued over other fantasy settings, and I've been playing the game since day one. However, ever since the 2.0 update, the story and characters have been mid or miss for me, to the point where this is the gacha game I'm most likely to drop if this keeps up, and I'm only sticking around because I enjoy the endgame content, and because Evelyn is one of my 2 favourite HoYoverse waifus alongside Honkai Impact Himeko.
Arknights
Is a gacha game I play casually, mostly doing dailies, collecting operators, playing through whatever event is going on, etc. Honestly, I don't know what else to say about this one. Tower defense games have been one of my favourite genres since I was young, and I like how Arknights does it. The voice acting and voice acting options are a gold standard, character skins are tasteful compared to the lewd angle most of the gachas pursue, and the content power creep is mostly horizontal rather than vertical. Did I manage to get Exusier Alter and Lemuel from the current banner? Yes, I've been saving up as Apple Pie is one of my favourite operators, and since I didn't need to use the limited banner pity currency on either character, I bought Miss War Criminal. Bloons Tower Defense 6. Got the game for free thanks to one of my connections, and it's quite nice playing a Bloons game again. I've been having fun bashing my head over and over to overcome each map, and despite that connection of mine teaching me some tricks, I still have trouble here and there, especially on harder maps. My personal favourite towers to use are Sniper, Submarine and Druid, while my favourite hero is Benjamin. Of course, there's the games I'm currently streaming. First off, Expedition 33. I've been having a blast with the gameplay and have been admiring the character writing and music. We recently completed Act 2, learning the truth of the world and the underlying conflict, and I can't wait to continue the expedition as we're no longer shackled by the 9,999 damage cap. Lastly, there's Trails in the Sky First Chapter. If you guys remember when I last made a video like this, you know I was hyped for this remake. I've been a fan of the series since 2010, I'm up to date with the mainline entries in the West, my expectations were high, and the game has been executed wonderfully, taking quality of life and gameplay elements from modern Trails games and applying them to the first game, even if some of those applied elements don't make sense narratively, creating the ultimate window for what the series has to offer. This praise comes even though I haven't finished Chapter 2 yet. It's been a joy to stream this game, yet agonizing at the same time, because there's so much I want to say, but they all fall into spoiler territory. And based on the poll I did before I started streaming this game, most of you watching are new to the series, so I'll continue to do my best not to accidentally spoil anything so you guys can get maximum satisfaction from the story and world building. Unless it's during the spoiler discussion segments, then anything is fair game. Well, that's all I wanted to say. This video was originally going to be an Arknights gacha pull video, which came to me from a dream. Eventually I kept thinking about more things I wanted to talk about, and this is the final product. Thank you everyone for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Take care of yourselves and have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye.